Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's the original tea guy here. Oops, slipped up. The original tea guy here, and today I'm reviewing Oriental Beauty Silver Medal by Imperial Teas of Lincoln. I know it is an amber oolong, so it's going to be a slightly more oxidized oolong. I know this comes up the wrong way when I show it on screen. I'm not sure why. I'm trying to fix it. Sorry I didn't post last week, I wasn't feeling particularly well, but I'm back, and in fact this week there'll be a double post, so one today and one in a couple days time, either Thursday or Friday, probably late afternoon. So this tea is an amber oolong. It is won the silver medal, so it's a highly reviewed tea. It's considered, as they say on the label itself, considered the world's best type of tea. So the tea is expected to have a rich taste, a perfumed aroma varying from honey and peach, with a taste of a sweet and ripe fruit flavour, floral with a long-lasting pleasant aftertaste. So let's have a look at the actual leaf itself. So you can see here that it's quite gnarled. The leaves aren't particularly small, but they are quite clearly good quality because we can only see buds and first leaves. There's lots of white buds here and quite a few first leaves. It looks very pleasant, and the smell, there's a slight sweet aroma to it, which is quite unusual for a tea, especially when you smell it dry. But as always, the smell doesn't tell us that much, so let's put it inside our tea tasting crockery and have a smell. So the packet recommends 1 gram per 100 mils. They say it can be reinfused 3 to 4 times, and they recommend a 2-minute infusion. So I'm just going to leave it there and shake it about a little bit just to see what... Okay, with respect to smell, I'm smelling this earthiness and a slight pepperiness. So that's very unusual pepperiness, which I've not experienced in a tea before. So I'm very excited about this tea. So I'm going to set a timer for 2 minutes, and I'll be back in a moment when this tea is done, and we'll have a quick taste. So this oolong has been brewing for 2 minutes with water just below boiling, so quite warm, well, quite hot actually, and the colour is something of a light honey colour, so it's more of a yellow rather than an amber, but it is it's almost like sunshine. It is a very beautiful colour. The aroma, you can smell definitely honey and leafy, kind of foresty smell, somewhat similar to the last tea I reviewed, but it's not as strong as it's not a very mature, rich honey. It's a much lighter honey, and as you can see here, the leaves have plumped up very beautifully. They've got this brown, reddy colour. You know, they look absolutely fantastic, really, really gorgeous. And you can't see the perhaps I haven't got any, but the tips aren't as clear as they are in the dry leaf. Perhaps there are not any there. Oh no, just can't see it. Okay, so let's have so again, honey, woody kind of aroma. Let's have a quick taste. Okay, so this is a fabulous tea. This has this sweetness, it's this floral flavour. It is absolutely fantastic. There's a fruitiness I can't quite place, so perhaps it's time for me to put into my cup. This time I'm just using a cappuccino mug, and have a proper sip. So yeah, definitely honey. Yeah, so there's this wonderful fruitiness, the first thing you identify straight away is this dry mouth feel, which, as I stated in my last review, I'm a big fan of. The taste is light and sweet. It's excellently balanced. There's no kind of bitterness or harshness coming through. You can taste honey, a very light lemon taste, and definitely melon. Sorry, lemon, citrus. A very light citrus note, and definitely melon. Yeah. So the citrus note isn't like it's not like lemon juice. It's more like the lemon zest kind of thing. So flavor without the acidity, and it isn't particularly strong, but you can definitely taste a hint of it, or at least I can. And there is obviously some melon in there as well. I can't quite taste the peach that they said you might taste, but ripe fruit I think is a good description, and the smell is quite floral and a hint of honey. Well, quite a bit of honey actually, but you definitely get some floral notes. So, you know, this is a very pleasant tea, and we'll have a look again. So I'll be back in a second with the second infusion. So let's see how that goes. So I've re-infused the tea for another 2 minutes, and the colour hasn't changed very much. It's still that sunshine yellow, very light honey colour. The smell hasn't changed either that much, although definitely in the leaf you smell more. It's almost like a meaty aroma. It's quite strange, and there's a lot more earthiness come through. I think mushrooms are probably the best description. Quite a lot of people say mushrooms taste and smell quite meaty. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. There is some of a meaty, kind of mushroomy smell from these leaves, and there is a lot of earthiness. The liquor itself, slightly more earthy than before, but not a huge difference. I think, I'm not sure if it's just my imagination, but it's the very pleasant dry feel in the mouth that was there in the first infusion has almost become a bit over. It's become more dry, which I'm not sure if that's just my mind playing tricks on me. It might be necessary to have a taste from the mug. No. Yeah, there's a definite. It feels like it's become even more dry. We've lost some of the honey note, the melon note. Sorry, that honey is still there. The earthiness has definitely increased, but we've lost some of that fruitiness. We've definitely lost the majority of the melon taste in this second infusion, which is very unfortunate actually, because that first infusion was really fantastic, but this second one is not worked out anywhere the way I thought it would. Yeah. So they say you can re-infuse this 3 to 4 times. I have no idea what the fourth infusion would taste like. I imagine if this is how big of a difference the second infusion is, where you've almost completely lost the melon. There's still some, most of the fruit is gone. The perfumed smell, it's still there. The honey is still definitely there. But quite a lot of bitterness has come through in this second infusion, which is really unfortunate, I think. So, originally I would have reviewed this I would have given this a very high rating for that first infusion. That first infusion was absolutely fantastic. It's one of the best things I've ever drank. But this second infusion really has let the tea down, and I think I'm gonna have to give this 4 out of 5. So I don't want. Oh, actually, I think 3 0.75, so 3 3/4, because this is definitely, that first infusion was really good, but this second infusion has let it down. Now perhaps this is a tea which is more indicative of the gong fu style of brewing, pardon me, and so these 2-minute infusions are actually just far too long, and they are really taking away from the tea. And that first infusion, that first 2 minutes has blended together really all the best qualities of the tea, but this second infusion, we're getting kind of a hollowed husk of what the tea once was. And so perhaps this is a tea which needs to be revisited in the future, perhaps using the gong fu style rather than the method they recommend, which was 2 minutes per infusion. So I'm thinking perhaps in the future I might revisit this using the gong fu style and see what difference that makes. But in conclusion, that first infusion was absolutely fantastic, but this second one has kind of spoiled it. That was Oriental Beauty Silver Medal by the Imperial Teas of Lincoln. I'm giving it a 3.75 out of 5. There'll be a link in the description to where you can buy this tea. This is actually quite an expensive tea, so it's quite unfortunate that this second infusion has let it down so badly. Well, it's not terrible, don't get me wrong. The second infusion is not bad. It's just really, that let it down. That first infusion was so pleasant, so good, so well balanced, but this second infusion, yeah, just not. We've lost almost all the fruitiness, that lovely melon quality, that slight citrusy, all gone. We're just getting honey notes, a little bit of bitterness, kind of the earthiness that one would expect from a highly roasted tea or a black tea, or highly oxidized tea, sorry. But this is, I understand that this is an amber oolong, but the colour was so fantastic. This, yeah, I'm just very disappointed that the second infusion has let it down compared to that first infusion. So, anyway, thank you very much for watching. I will be back in a couple of days with a second review for this week. I'm going to try and maintain a kind of a normal schedule of at least one upload per week. This week I'll upload twice to make up for the fact that I didn't upload last week. Thank you all for watching so much, and have a pleasant afternoon. Goodbye.